A very good evening and welcome to this week's episode of South Africa Today and Beyond. This week we are shooting on location at the Tshawane South TVET College, the Centurion campus. There's been a lot of conversation in the country about the role of TVET colleges in producing, I think, skilled artisans in the country, but also generally in the production of, skilled workers in this country, being an institution of higher learning that focuses on vocational training. And I'm joined by Advocate Tshawane, who is the CAO, the Chief Accounting Officer. Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, we're talking about TVET colleges, and there's been a lot of conversation in the country about the role of TVET colleges. But I know Tshawane South TVET College is a product of a merger of about 3 or 4 campuses or institutions. What's that been like? How is maybe give us a brief history of the Tshawane South TVET College, starting from the merger.
When I was appointed the CEO of the institution in 2003, the 1st of June, this college comprised a measure of 3 campuses, namely this very same campus, Centurion campus, which is in the South African National Defence Force military base, the Pretoria West campus, which is in the Pretoria West industrial area, and Atteridgeville campus, which is located in Atteridgeville Township. After 2 years or so, with the advent of demarcations, provincial demarcations, we added the 4th campus, which originally or initially was in the Buputatswana, the former Buputatswana area, the north, which is called Northwest now, which is OD campus. Thus, Tshawane South College comprises 4 campuses, namely Centurion, Pretoria West, Atteridgeville, and OD campus. And its corporate service or administration offices are in the Pretoria inner city at number 85 Francis Bar Street, not very far from the National Department of Education, that is the Department of Higher Education and Training.
Now, the campuses and, the way the campuses are located, they're quite far apart from each other, but also coming from the fact that it's an industrial campus, number 1, but also number 2, you have a campus based in a military complex, number 2, but also in certain areas as well, How difficult has it been post the merger to develop one identity for the entire college itself? How difficult has that been?
Merging campuses physically is not a problem, but the problem comes in when you look at the human element. Remember, change is not liked by a lot of people, and change is pain. And when we started in 2003, really we battled to establish this college into one entity, because people were seriously against change. And those that were against change, some of them had to be forced to accept change, because that is where the country was going to. And we could not, as a college, compromise the direction that the country wanted to take. Now, the culture, all these campuses have their peculiar cultures, which are different from each other. In terms of management, you will find in one campus, they manage the same area differently as the other campus, but that area is the same. For instance, late coming, one campus will the campus manager and the deputy campus manager will ensure that before lectures start, they go around the college and ensure that lecturers are in, students are in, and whatever. The other campus, you'll find the managers, the campus manager, the deputy campus manager, and their heads of department seated, and whatever. But one is actually forcing them to run this college as a unitary structure, not a federal structure, a federation of campuses, so that When we achieve, we achieve. When we achieve based on the predetermined objectives that all of us as a college, as a totalitarian function, we have agreed upon, not a particular campus. But that is an ongoing process. We will never reach a point in life where we say the college is now operating as a true unitary structure. We shall continue to ensure that that happens. And how does it happen? It happens by formulation of a number of policies so that people can know what is expected of them at all material times when managing the institution. Formulation of policies that are governing students and their student activities so that students in the college's totality in function can know what is expected of them and what have you. Now, the question of a merger and what have you is an ongoing thing. It's an ongoing thing. We will never reach a point. You keep on throwing the book at people, reprimanding and severely so, or descending upon people like a ton of bricks so that they do right things. I mean, the nation has entrusted these young men and women to us to make them better people of tomorrow. And if we fail to do that, people will be spitting in a not too distant future because one is a semi-ancestor now. There is no way that I can repeat the number of years that I've lived up to today and live them again. So people will be spitting on my grave if I don't do what is expected to me. And that I will do without any fear, favor, prejudice.
So I understand that the Tshawane South TVET College is quite dynamic. Yes. What are some of the key focus areas in terms of, the academics and the faculties? I mean, we're standing in a welding kind of workshop. And of course, you'll take us through what actually happens in this particular workshop. But I know the other things that the college does. And it's quite unconventional from what I understand because a lot of the colleges kind of focus on technical training. So what are some of the key areas at the college?
May I start by answering the last part of your question? This is a welding workshop. It deals with gas welding, TIG welding, arc welding, and the others. Now, the Tshawane South College is a college that aims at producing a well-rounded student, a student who can not only be a consumer of the wealth of this country, but a producer. Now, for that reason, that is why we are dealing with disciplines such as mechanical engineering, civil engineering, and electrical engineering. And over and above that, we have what we call utility studies. Utility studies will be a tourism, beautician, what have you. And we have this very important course in what we call business studies. It's financial management and accounting. Why do we have that? We have that simply because we want to also inculcate in our students what we normally call entrepreneurial spirit. They must go and actually not depend on anyone offering employment to them. If necessary, they must create employment for themselves and others by having entrepreneurial spirit. Hence, we are a dynamic institution that is responsive to the economic realities of where the campuses are located. Gauteng because we are a Gauteng college, South Africa because we are in South Africa, and beyond the borders of South Africa. And that dovetails well with the program that you are responsible for.
Now, I mean, this kind of workshop and the kind of infrastructure that is here, when the college, and I think post the merger, did we find this kind of infrastructure in place? And what kind of systems are in place in terms of refurbishing and servicing the workshop itself? And are students integral part of the servicing program?
They do not actually say this. They don't say this. Yes, it's true. This workshop, I found it here, but you keep on maintaining, refurbishing it, because if you don't do that, you will have a situation where you do no longer have a workshop of this nature and magnitude. And that will require you to start from afresh, and you will spend a lot of millions to do this. And that is still a problem because we are running short of funding to maintain that which we have. But the little that we get, we ensure that we get value for money out of it in a form of actually ensuring that we maintain all our workshops, with this one included, so that they can keep on being at the correct standard of providing that which our students want to learn.
Yeah. I mean, you're raising important issues around, for example, funding as one of the key challenges. And it's an issue affecting, I think, institutions of higher learning broadly in South Africa. But what are some of the other challenges facing the TVET sector, but in particular the Tshawane South College?
For instance, people will say this campus in particular is situated in the Centurion area. And they look at the surrounding houses and they will say it's situated in an area of the middle class population of South Africa. The people who can afford to pay fees and what have you. The people who can afford, and same applies to Pretoria West. It's situated in the industrial area. But the nature of the student population that we attract students from Limpopo, from Northwest, from Northern Cape, from Eastern Cape, from KwaZulu-Natal, from Mpumalanga. And these students hail from the poorer of the poorest families. And that is why we are funding. They cannot be in a position to fund their education. Yes, we have NSFAS. NSFAS money will only be given to students that are regarded as deserving students. And those that are not classified as deserving, they may not get funding. And it's very, very difficult to get money out of their pockets. And at the same time, as a college, we need to be responsive to the ideals and aspirations of our clientele learners. It is very difficult for us to turn them away on the basis that they do not have money. What we do, we encourage them with their parents or guardians to enter into some credit arrangement. But you'll know that people will enter into a credit arrangement, but getting money out of them at a later stage, you will have to employ a lawyer or a firm of lawyers to start blacklisting them and whatever and whatever. The problem is funding.
Yeah, and I think, with the rise of movements like Fees Must Fall, for example, 2 years ago within the higher education sector, the issue of funding has been so important in trying to also deal with the missing kind of middle, they call it. But what are some of the, I think, ways in which the college is assisting students in terms of those that don't meet NSFAS requirements, for example? Are there bursaries? Are you working with other companies, for example, partnering with other companies, for example, to make sure, for example, bursaries are in place for those that are qualifying, I think, and academically excelling to qualify for those bursaries?
Yes, we are working with a number of companies. One of them is South African National Defence Force. Once they bring their students here, their trainees here, obviously they will have to pay. And they will pay from the coffers of the South African National Defence Force. But we do not have money in abundance. We would like to have bursaries, maybe a bursary that is run from the chairperson of the council's office or my office. But we cannot do that because we do not have money in abundance.
I mean, the issues that you're raising, and again, I mean, they're affecting institutions of higher learning broadly. But I think after the ad break, we'll also talk about, what other companies, and we must begin to appeal to the private sector as well, to get more involved in terms of assisting people in this country, young people in this country, to also get an education. They must be part of an instrumental, part of the higher education sector, and ensuring that the money that goes back to the private sector is actually plowed back into communities, and they get young people get funding for those things. But let's go for a quick ad break, and we'll come back when we return. Welcome back from the ad break, and I'm still joined by this Chief Accounting Officer of the Tshawane South TVET College. We are in the fitting and training workshop, and this workshop, I understand, is quite a very special workshop. But the one thing is the fact that it takes university graduates and provide them training. Maybe explain to us the history of this particular workshop.
Yeah, this workshop is one of the workshops that I found here, but we keep on putting in money to maintain it. And this is the workshop that got a ministerial, one of the workshops that got a ministerial award around fitting and training last week.
Last week?
Last week, yes, last week. And this is the workshop that is frequented towards the end of the year by students, engineering students from universities such as University of Pretoria, University of Northwest, Stellenbosch University, University of Cape Town. So you can see that we are very serious about mechanical engineering.
But I mean, also this also deals with some of the stigmas and the myths around the capacity and the ability of TVET College also to produce quality graduates. You are getting, graduates from top-ranking institutions in this country, like the University of Pretoria, who don't have actual skills training, and you come and provide that at this particular college. It really speaks a lot about the capacity of TVET colleges as well, to produce quality, skilled graduates. But there's stigmas around TVET colleges broadly and the TVET sector. People think, it's a second option for people that didn't qualify for university. What kind of conversation should we begin to have in terms of demystifying those kind of stigmas and notions?
It is very painful that our institutions are regarded as dumping grounds of people who are intellectually challenged. And that is not true. Remember, this is a mechanical engineering workshop. And the end product in a form of human beings of a mechanical engineering workshop is a mechanical engineer. And what does the mechanical engineer do? The mechanical engineer designs power-driven machines and power-producing machines. Now, if that is the case, you don't need people who are intellectually challenged. I mean, a triangle at a college of this magnitude will remain a triangle. It cannot become something else because we are at a TVET college. That is why one of the key subjects to come in here is physical science and mathematics. And physical science and mathematics will be physical science and mathematics, not maths literacy. Literacy, physical science and mathematics, hard physical science and mathematics will remain physical science and mathematics throughout the world, throughout the country. Hence, this theme is perpetuated by the fact that our thinking is still rooted in the Bantu education system, where we say, no, this is people are working with their hands, as if when hands and the intellectual capacity do not have to complement and supplement each other. We need best students. And again, we are told that quite a considerable number of our youth is unemployed. Now, these institutions are the answer to deal with high unemployment rate around of the youth. Why are they unemployed? They are unemployed because they don't have skills. They are not employable. And we are saying, here is Tshawane South College. We are inviting everybody, companies around the Tshawane South, to come on board and ensure that this college is a success story. And we can help the country in ensuring that we produce not only the consumers of the wealth of the country, also the producers of the wealth of the country. Absolutely. People with entrepreneurial spirit.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Tshawane. But also, congratulations to you and the college on the award for this particular workshop from the Minister.
And this is not the only award. Even Pretoria West, one of our campuses, got a ministerial award recently. And the workshops that I'm talking about are workshops, are not bogus workshops. They are, this one is accredited by Quality Council for Trade and Occupations, QCTO, meaning that once you have gone out of this, you will have a certificate that matters. Absolutely. Others are bogus colleges. You have a certificate that is not even worth the paper it is written on. We make it a point that all our workshops across the college, in the college as a totality in function, are accredited so that we can produce people that can help to deal with the skills problems of this country, the SADC region and beyond.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I'm joined by the SRC President, Khanyi Malinga. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Kora.
Khanyi, you are the first female president of the Tshawane South TVET College. How challenging has it been for you as a female being a president of a TVET college?
Well, it has been a bit challenging at first because a lot of male SRC members had no confidence in myself, but I'm glad that I was able to show them that it's not only about being female or about being male, but if you are dedicated and you know what you're doing, you know what you want, you know what you're fighting for, you can actually get to whatever and whenever you want to get to.
Absolutely. And I mean, I can just, imagine the kind of challenges that you faced during your term and, of course, your SRC. What has been some of the challenges that you faced in the SRC? And I know, there's also a different number of campuses that are spread out over, the Pretoria area. One in Pretoria West, one here in Centurion campus in the military base, one in OD campus in Atteridgeville as well. How challenging has it been also, coordinating other, local SRC members, working together? How difficult has that been?
I can't say it was a lot difficult as to being easy, because at the beginning of the year when I started my term, what I preached to most of my SRC members was unity. And I made them understand that we are not doing this for ourselves or to get to wherever, but we are rather doing it for students. We are to carry out the mandate rather that is given to us by the students. So if we are to be focusing on communication breakdowns and all those other things, they are there, but we tried by all means, and I'm glad that the SRC of this year, they trusted my leadership and they supported me throughout. The challenges that we might have had were those of maybe the management not being there at times, but to a large extent, they've supported most of our things. They've always been there, they've always supported us. And the SRC, we have just been one big happy family, but it was a bit challenging at the beginning with lack of trust and all those other things, but they were ironed out.
I can imagine. But Kanye, somebody's looking at the show and they're thinking, wow, Tshawane South TVET College. And I mean, we've been discussing also a number of issues affecting Tshawane South College, but also broadly the TVET sector. And the fact that people think that, the Tshawane South TVET or the TVET sector itself, is a dumping ground for people that don't want to go to university, for example. And we've been dealing with some of those myths and stigmas that comes with the TVET sector, and really, Kanye, maybe, from your own perspective as a student at the Tshawane South TVET College, what message can you send to people out there that want to study and are questioning whether or not the TVET sector is an option for them?
Wow, with TVET sectors, I've had that at the beginning before I came to this institution, but I'm glad that I finally came here, because I've noticed that this institution, it's not just a dumping site for students. This institution does not only leave you with the theoretical part of whatever faculty or whatever you're studying, but it also gives you the practical side of it. This institution is, like our principal likes to say, he usually says that Tshawane South College has no dustbin for students. And with that, he means that with all our, mostly the business studies students, after their 1 year, 6 months, or even the NCV, those that are doing NCV, the student also absorbs those students to come and work or to come and serve their 1 year, 6 months in this very institution. So it does not only assist you in terms of getting your academics and leaving you to the world to do whatever to you, but it also assists you in terms of getting your diploma.
And I know, I've heard a lot about, the talent at the Tshawane South TVET College, Maybe take us to some of the exciting things at the Tshawane South TVET College, beyond just academics, What does the college have to offer as well?
Wow. Tshawane South College is a college that it's just a variety. It does not leave you with academics, like I just said. We have our choir. We have a college choir that has even recorded a CD, and we also have a soccer team that is now playing for Castle, and we also have the junior team, and both those teams did very well in the previous season. That the senior team qualified to play on the playoffs to qualify for the Castle, and the Castle team actually qualified to play for the ABC Motsepe team. So unfortunately they didn't make it to that far, but in that whole process with all the soccer teams that were there, Tshawane South College, it was the only team that is representing an institution that was part of that challenge. And it is, to me and to the institution, it was just something that just placed us at a different level on the map of TVET institutions. And not only that, Tshawane South College has your sports, your arts and culture, your athletics. There is just a variety, and we have our Triple S coordinators, which are with us throughout, with each and every single extramural activity that we do. They don't just do them for fun or entertainment, but they nurture us into becoming better professionals in whatever faculty that we might be wanting to get into in terms of sports.
Sure. Can you finally, from your side as an SRC president, I'm guessing, the year is coming to an end, your term is also coming to an end, what message would you leave the students? Have you been a good person? Do students love you? Do they hate you? But what message do you want to leave the students? I think of the college, but also I think, a message to young people out there that are looking at the show and watching and thinking, based on what Kanye's saying, I think I can explore, a postgraduate degree or a post-schooling kind of qualification at a TVET college. What kind of message of hope will you send? But also a goodbye message to the students from yourself.
Wow, okay. Thank you very much, Kwara, for that question. The question, the message that I'd like to leave the students of, particularly Tshawane South College, I would like to really thank them for entrusting me to be their leader. I hope I have done justice to all the grievances that they've had. And not only that, but to the world out there, and especially to females. I'm sorry, I might be gender-based, but not.
It's important.
I am the first female president of this particular institution. So in this whole year, I've been trying to kind of embrace and to show women that they can also be as equal as men. Not completely, but they can still do the very same things that men are doing, And with that, I'd like to tell them that education is something that no one else can take away from you. Education is something that you have to fight for. And once you have that, no one and nothing can even take that away from you. Even if you get married to a rich man or whatnot, and they tell you to do this and that, once you have your own education, you have your own stepping stone.
Sure.
You can get yourself from point A to point B with your own qualifications. So mine is for young people. Let's go to school. Let's get educated.
Young black women as well.
Young black women.
As well. Let's get educated.
Let's get educated.
Thank you so much, Kanye. Unfortunately, that's only the time we have left this show. Thank you so much for joining us this episode. And catch us again next week on South Africa Today and Beyond. Have a good evening.